So we got a comment here, right? It says it's from the man's J25. Let's see what he has to say. It says, I get what Mont's saying. Clarify if Smurf always felt that way the whole time or if it was just a moment. But the thing is, Mont can't talk to men like he talks to women, right? Too much beating around the bush. And Angry Man said it. Do you want a solution or do you just want to be heard? Because they answered your questions directly and you keep trying to find a loophole of misunderstanding to keep the combo going, right? So that's what I want to address, right? Because I understand what he's saying, but it's actually quite the opposite if you actually watch it, right? So I asked the question. I want to read these things to you that you said. And then I want you to give me your perspective on these things. Have you always felt this way or whatever, right? You said, we looking at you and your man bun being a lane, right? You said, don't come over here when men trying to talk like with men trying to talk like a man. You went on another man's platform after he clowned you. That gangster shit, you can't match it. I whoop cats around your town, right? You curled up when that man came on you. When you curled up when that man came on.
Pause.
Gotcha. Pause. You curled up when that man came on camera. You soft. That nigga a lame just like you. And then I said you're not a real nigga. And then I think what you heard, right? So I want to go deeper into how you feel about these certain things that you said. That's what I'm curious about. And I already had an answer to that because P Smurf, we talked earlier. And when I asked P Smurf earlier, he gave me the origin, right? And he said, you've taken shots at me before. Yeah. Trey, you remember when we was on the phone with P Smurf, right?
Okay.
And he told me that, I said some things in the past that made him want to go at me that time, the other day, right?
Yeah, that was crazy work, but go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, and I didn't think that I've taken shots at him before. I thought I actually never really took any shots at him. If I did, it was like a joke that I was joking with everybody type shit, right? But maybe he took it different. I don't know. However, I told him, I don't remember that. So he said, I would get you receipts and provide you receipts. And I said, cool, right? Later on, we talked, and I laid a foundation. I said, I read all of the things that he said, and I say, okay, tell me your perspective on these things. He then says and tells me that I was just jonesing.
Bro, it ain't no deep for me. It is what it is. You know what jonesing is? You know this. Everybody else can play and talk shit, but then when I do it, it's a problem. Now I see what Bean's talking about. Fuck off.
So now you.
Right? He doesn't say, oh, you've said things about me in the past, so I feel this way, and I have the receipts. He doesn't say anything like that. So I'm being told something different than what I expected and what we talked about already. So at this point, it's not that I'm fishing, and I'm the type of person that I don't really like to talk about phone conversations anywhere else besides to that individual. So I didn't really bring up the phone conversation until I think Trey or P Smurf brought up the phone conversation and what we talked about a little bit. Then I was later on in that conversation, I brought up the phone conversation. But early on, I didn't feel comfortable saying like, yo, we talked about this on the phone. What's up with that? Why you lying? Or why you saying something different now? Why didn't you say this? I wasn't going to do that. So the reason that I allowed Trey to have other men on this panel is because I thought it would provide a level of objectivity, right? I thought I would have a second set of eyes, mature eyes, elder eyes, to be able to look at this situation, to be able to look at me, to look at how I responded, look at how he responded, and let us know, yo, you might have a blind spot here because this is what actually happened and this is how we feel. I thought that would be a beneficial thing, having elder men on the panel during this conversation. But it turns out, they just thought it was funny. They wanted to joke. They wanted to laugh around and all these other type of things. So in retrospect, I should have told Trey to drop all of them niggas. Drop all them niggas. Me and P Smurf can talk about this, right? Because they actually made it quite worse when I thought that they would have made it quite better. And I think that was the issue. But to his comment, I was not actually given a straightforward answer. I was told that he was jonesing, where if you don't know what jonesing mean, if you from the DMV area, it means you joking. It means you just fucking around, right? And I'm pretty sure everybody who watched that video the night before could tell that that was all but a joke.
You right, I'm not a real nigga.
Look,
whoa.
Hold on. You cut me off, yo.
You clown ass. Oh, I don't give a fuck, bro. Oh, you clown ass.
You're not a real.
Y'all real and you ain't true.
All right, yo.
Listen to this, bro.
Trey, can you mute this nigga?
No.
He wouldn't even let me talk. I let him talk. Let him, get his shit off because I don't give a fuck. Let him get his shit off. Words don't hurt me. And then I tried to talk, and he would scream and not allow me to talk. It's just what happened. It's true. So anybody can tell that like, oh, nah, you wasn't joking, you wasn't playing, you wasn't jonesing, that wasn't jonesing, right? So I was never given a straightforward answer. I was the only one being straightforward. So yes, excuse me if I was still searching for something because I just wasn't being told the truth. And eventually I said, whatever. Like we just, you know, but I did not expect that at all. Let's read the rest of the comment. But we just talking in circles. Mont doesn't want progress in the conversation. After a while, it's like, what answers are you looking for? Especially if you said you care. I said I don't care. They think they can change it. They think they can change it to I don't care what they think. This is how women talk, right? I don't think people understand the difference between how somebody feels and if they care, right? And what do I care about and what don't I care about? Do I care about addressing this conversation before we move forward? 1,000%. Do I care what P Smurf or do I care what anybody else says? No. Does it matter in my real life? Does it matter in my internet life? No. However, before we move forward, this is necessary that we have this conversation. I'm that type of person. So I hope that clarifies what somebody's like, oh, do you care or do you not care? No, I don't care, but I care about addressing this. I don't care which way it goes. This can go any direction. However, it's going to get addressed. That's just how that works. I do that in my relationship, right? Sometimes women or sometimes people want to drop shit. I say, no, we don't drop it. We can put it down, but we're going to pick it back up because we're not going to sweep it under the rug. I don't do that type of stuff, right? I address everything. So I hope that gives people context into what actually really is, really happened. If people just paid attention and maybe listened a little bit closer, right? And the good thing is that I'm actually happy that a lot of people in the comments actually recognize certain things. That's why I asked, am I being gaslit, right? Being said, yeah, bro, you being gaslit. Everybody else said, oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. The comments said, nah, you being gaslit, bro. These is niggas who hate me in the comments is saying, y'all, yeah, they gaslighting you, bro. So I asked those questions for objectivity. I can just say myself, nigga, y'all gaslight me. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. However, I am the most objective nigga on YouTube. I can't help it. Crown me, right? I ask people, what do you see? That's why they have peer-reviewed studies, because I can give you my perspective. I can tell you what I found. However, if we're being truly intellectually honest, let somebody else put their eyes on this. If you're not afraid that your position will crumble down, right? If you're not afraid to understand that you might be a little bit biased, because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm right a lot, even if people don't understand it. But I'm gonna let y'all go. Have a good day. Remember, everybody hates Mont. Mont got the most haters in his space, and listen, by the time it's all said and done, y'all will see that I got the most haters in this space, and I don't be doing shit. I'm just me. Y'all gonna see.